Happy WIP Parade, friends. My name is Kari. This is Tiger Lily Designs. Welcome to my Start 2023 off WIP Parade. I'm super excited to be here with you. If you're finding me for the first time, welcome. My channel has lots of cross stitching, quilting, knitting, tutorials, DIY, all the things, plus a floss tube every Friday just for fun. And I hope you stick around and see what I got and see if it's something you want to subscribe to. If you're a returning subscriber, thanks so much for being part of the Tiger Lily family. I hope you're having fun. I'm having so much fun. So I do want to just dive right in because it's about the stitching, right? It's about kind of using this. I use this as a way to document my progress through the year. I can't keep track as the year goes through, but this is a great way to like snapshot this point in time. Where am I at with all these projects? So on my design table, it's a plethora of project bags and project keepers and folios and all the things right here. So we're going to dig into my projects. And if you don't know, let me give you just a little bit of background about me. Like I said, lots of people find channels during WIP Parade season. And so if you're new here, let me give you a little bit of bio. My name is Kari. I live in Mount Vernon, Virginia. I have 2 children. Both of them are in college. So I'm keeping busy. I have day jobs too, but I keep busy with my stitching and my knitting, and I sell project keepers on a monthly basis on my website. A lot of the times they do vintage. I upcycle. I like to upcycle vintage stitching that I thrift and I source, give a new life, save the stitches kind of thing. As well as this year in 2023, I launched a keeper club. So if you want any of the details on any of that, everything is down in the description box, but I would love for you to follow and check me out. I mainly am on Instagram. I try to do that at least a couple times a week just to stay connected, show you guys what I'm working on, interact with what you're working on. I like to do lots of sales during the year. I'm always starting one. A couple times a year I like to start one, and we'll see some of the sales because my sales are usually what I call big girls. My affectionate name for these huge historic reproduction samplers. Those are usually what my sales I dig on. I'm starting one here at the end of January. Details to come on my next floss tube video. So if you're looking for a sale to join on, check that out. Last year's sale was Miss Mary Morgan's. I should have brought her along to show you because she is really one of my pride and joys from 2022. If we're going to have like a what's number one, maybe I will bring her in and add a little clip of her right here because she really just deserves a little bit of the spotlight. She was my January birthday start sal from last year. I finished her up last summer and then got her framed and actually on the wall within 1 year. It was a feat. So anyway, that is a little bit about me. Hopefully that's something you can connect to, but I do want to just dig right into the stitching because that's why we're here, right? So also my day job, I'm a spreadsheet junkie, finance and all the things that are associated with that. So I kind of marry my 2 jobs, loves. You know, if you're that kind of brain, you do it in all the aspects. So in true Kari form, if you know, you know, I spreadsheet. I also keep planners and calendars and notes galore. You'll see I have a project tracker information card that I created sometime last year. And so once I created that, it got into the project bag. So you'll see that. So I'll have the details associated with each project within the bag itself. This spreadsheet I use mainly to give me the chart, the designer, if there's a sal or hashtag I'm using, when I started, when I finished it, and when I fully finished it. So let's just dig into the details before we get into the stitching. I promise there's stitching. But just to give you a little sneak peek of what we got. And yes, I have to put on my glasses. Otherwise, it's all just blurry blob to me. So last year, Tiger Lily 2022 recap. I started the year with 22 WIPs. Not too bad. If you saw, I had a WIP parade about a year ago. And so I had 22 WIPs to start. Of those 22 WIPs, I had 7 finishes. And I'm abandoning 9 of them. And you'll see, I do think I have some of the abandons I haven't abandoned yet. I abandoned them during this reconciliation process. It was one of those things where I picked it up and I touched it and I'm like, there's just so many things to stitch. If I don't love this, I'm going to let it go. So some of these abandons I am going to abandon today. And then if their progress is something where I can pass along to somebody else, I'm going to be doing that in my next floss tube video. If not, I will just cut up the fabric and toss the floss back into the stash. During 2022, I had 48 new starts, so close to 50. We'll see what my goal is for this year. I don't have a goal, but 48 new starts last year. 27 of those got finished, so that's exciting. 22 will fully finish. So I actually include like ornaments. It's a start and a finish and a fully finish, and credit check. So some of those are smalls being little dobo pillows or smalls being Christmas ornaments, but either way, I had 22 fully finishes and 27 finishes. So there was 5 finishes from last year that are still in the need to be finished box. But anyway, so let's dig into, like I said, this spreadsheet. I do have them all organized here in front of me, and we're kind of going in chronological order. I can't say it's exactly chronological order, but we're just going to dive right in. It's chronological-esque. Okay, so let's dig into, I do believe this is not my oldest WIP, but it's certainly one that I didn't touch in 2022. And that's sad. It was a New Year, New Start from 2021. It was in one of my original project keepers. This is when I was prototyping. I was just making them for myself, and I was using quilting. I'm a quilter, so it was in vintage ribbon and all the things. I am going to show you my bags and keepers because as a consumer, as a watcher of WIP parades, I love seeing all the different project bags and the needle miters and the accoutrement associated with the hobby. It's just as exciting to me. So anyway, here is my project keeper. This is one of the double folio kind. I'm not going to walk you through every one, but can you guess what this one is? This is a big girl, so she gets her own project keeper. But like I said, I didn't stitch on this one at all in 2022. I don't know why, to be honest with you. I think because I just squirreled too many times. This is a big piece of sorry, the sun is kind of, I'm using natural light this morning. I'm not using my ring light. And yes, no, I did not iron for you. I am sorry. With 50 projects or so, I'm going to show you. You just have to see past the wrinkles. I hope you're okay with that. So this is my, in case you don't know, this is my Anniversaries of the Heart. And as you can see, I am almost I might be 2 blocks done. I think. So maybe I did touch it this year, just a smidge. I did I'm not doing them in the correct order. The Anniversaries of the Heart, if you're not familiar with it, this is a Blackbird Designs. I keep all the charts right here inside the folio. This is a printout from the Blackbird website, the Anniversaries of the Heart website on Facebook, just so I could do it because it's a personalization type sampler. And so I wanted to make notes of who, like, this house with this moth is for Lily, my daughter Lily. She thought that was hilarious, the size juxtaposition of this house and this butterfly. She loves it. And so, of course, she had to be, so all of her dates. So I started with that one because I knew that's what it was for. And her and Noah gifted almost the whole kit to me for Christmas in 2020. So, that was why it was a New Year, New Start of 21. And so, like I said, I started with the butterfly house, and it's got my daughter's name, Lily, and her birth date. And that's how I personalized it. And so then I went ahead and, of course, I moved on. And so this is my paternal grandmother is named after her. So this is the pink house. And that's as far as I've got. I am using all the called for flosses, sometimes it just, there's so many, and there it goes. So many flosses that are in this project that I really should just get to stitching because, you know, so many of these flosses would be useful in other projects, I am sure, rather than just sitting idly in this bag. But we'll see. I do want to, I'm stitching, as we'll start with my first one, I am an Aida stitcher. So every project you will see today will be on Aida. I can't see linen. I can't see. I have all the lights and all the tricks and all the things, and I just can't see it. And so this hobby needs to be enjoyable for me. And so I've accepted, I drank the Kool-Aid of the fact that it is okay. Even for a historical or reproduction sampler, Aida is okay. And thank goodness for so many of the fabulous hand dyeing companies that are now drinking the Kool-Aid too of dyeing hand dyed Aida. Thank goodness it's not just linen anymore. And so, to be honest, I don't know what this is stitched on. I forget. It looks to be a 16 count or so. It's definitely not 14. I think it's a 16 count because I am using 2 strands, but I can't tell you for sure. And that's just the way it is. Because this was before I kept track of things. So that's one that has been here for a while. I should move her up to the list. Maybe I'll move on to the next house, get a little bit of project. That's the great thing about WIP Parades is I also get to touch and see and kind of like drool over some of the things I haven't seen in a while. And going through my buckets, I kind of just whiz by them and you don't take them out and touch them and see them. And that one's just such a beautiful project and I'm excited to have it hang in my house. So we shall see. Moving right along, well, let's go ahead and dig into another oldie but goodie. This is Winter Rose Manor. And I started this one. Here is the chart in case you don't know. Winter Rose Manor with a needle and thread. So I am doing what I like to affectionately call a tiger lily twist. I'm not using all the called for colors. Let's see. Yeah, so I made a couple notes. It's in pencil, so if you want to know, reach out to me and I will let you know what it is. But I did change, looks like at least half of the colors. I did my own twist on it. I just wanted it to show up a little better. Again, I don't know what this fabric is. I promise later on I will know more details, but this one hasn't gotten too much. Again, I am changing the colors, I'm staying in the concept of the colors, but I just wanted a different pink. I know there has been a lot of talk and changes of the pink house. My pink house instead of conch is, let's see, Meredith Pink. Meredith Pink is a beautiful color from Weeks Dye Works. And I just loved that pink from my pink house instead. And then there's some other changes as well. I'm stitching this also, I do believe, looks like either 14 or 16 count, because it's definitely 2 strands. But that one, it just hasn't gotten any love again this year either. Maybe soon. I know I've seen a lot of my FlossTube friends that I watch that started this here recently. So maybe that'll invigorate me to pick it up again sometime soon. So let's dig into another oldie this was one of those ones that I picked up and I started early on in 22. It has been around, in 2020. It has been around since October of 2020. And it is a Satsuma Street download, PDF download. I put all my PDF downloads in these sleeve protectors. I'm sorry, I'm not going to take them out the glare. But it's a beautiful wall banner that I thought would be, it's called Vogue Flowers. Super colorful, in case you don't know. I love color. This is in one of my rainbow patchwork project bags. I love this bag. This is the one I did a tutorial for. So if you wanted to know how to do a patchwork, easy peasy, like spoiler, you don't have to line up the points type project bag. I do have a tutorial showing you that, and you can use it for rainbow or patchwork, whatever speaks to you. This one I'm using all the called for DMCs. I have them on bobbins on this little ring, and it is on, okay, so this is why I don't love this one, because stitching on black is not my favorite. Even when I do this is a 14 count. I don't think it's true black. I think it's going to be the chalkboard Aida from Fat Quarter Shop. And you can see I did the hash marks so then I could come back and fill it in. It shouldn't just be a half stitch. It should be a full cross. But that was my way of kind of making some easy fill in to come back to. and I have not come back to it. But I loved this chart because I think it's a great space. It's so skinny. The measurements of it are, let's see, 49 by 324. So it's one of those perfect charts / patterns in those spaces on your wall where it's like between two doors and it's not big enough to actually hang anything, but you want, like, I've tried to fill all my walls with all the things. And so that was my goal, my plan. My thought for this one is that it would be a perfect little, you know, hang type. It's such a sweet little finish, but for some reason I just didn't pick it up this year. So we'll see if I get to it sometime soon. All right, friends. So this is one that has been going on, not in this project keeper, but that has been going on since 2020. This is now housing my 12 days of Christmas charts from my sweet friend Hello from Liz Matthews. So this was our keeper bundle that we did. I did with Treehouse Fiber Arts, Rachel and Sue. And we did this exclusive bundle in the Christmas, December, November of 2022. So you can't get this keeper anymore. This was exclusive to the bundle, but that is where I keep everything. And we're doing a sale here in 2023. So I keep it all in here. What do I have in here? All the floss. I did my own silk conversion to Mercedes silk. So I think I have a link on my blog to give you the details of what it is. And then, of course, I have all my charts. Liz has released 7 days of the 12. I have finished and stitched 1, 2, 3. At least 2. It could be 3. It's somewhere on the spreadsheet, but I'm not going to make you watch me count. So I am working right now on day 4. So day 4 is what is in the WIP Parade today. So here is day 4. Like I said, I'm sorry, you're going to get the glare and let me put that on there, and the wrinkles. But truly, this is such a gorgeous set of patterns. I love this one so much. The silk is a dream to stitch with. Liz charts in MPI silks, but then she also does a DMC conversion if that's more your jam. Back in 2020, I had gotten a full color spectrum set of silks from Mercedes Silk, who is an indie silk floss dyer from Spain. And so I did my own color conversion for this one, because this one, I have plans. This one is going to be a wall hanging quilt. It took me a while to figure out whether I wanted to frame them all individually or do the tree finishes, which are so sweet. But instead, I have decided I am going to take all 12 pieces. I've got some time. Like I said, Liz has already only released 7 out of the 12 days. So the fact that I'm only on day 4, no worries, still time. But I am going to do this as a 4x3, so a 12 square quilt wall hanging for Christmas time is what the finish is going to be on this. That's a couple of years down the road. I think Liz is committed that the series will be complete in 2024. So here in 2023, I do have to get my, wheels in gear and get caught up. So I am ready to go. So maybe, cross my fingers, in 2024 Christmas, that's like so far away, but it's not. It'll be here like that. I will have the wall hanging to put up on the wall and enjoy during the Christmas season. So I'm excited. I love those charts. I love everything. You'll see. Really, if I had a Liz Matthews, I could do my own Liz Matthews like finish parade, to be honest with you, because I am really quick on when I start, I finish those. They don't linger in the WIP parade for very long because I love them so much. Let's just dig right into what's next. This is in a upcycled project bag. Like I said, I'm a quilter, so I always have quilty scraps. And this was one I told you guys about. This was a sweet. When I was packing, I moved here the last year of 2022. I moved. And so with moving, you kind of find some things. You unpack and you pack and you're like, oh, this is something I haven't touched. So I moved this 5 years ago. When I moved again, let's not move it again. So what this was is, so my daughter's in college now, but this was one of those Gymboree t-shirts, those applique. Oh, so cute. ladybug, lilybug. Anyway, so we had a lot of those sweet little applique shirts, and I saved them for something. And so I decided to use one of them at least to make a sweet bag. So here I have this sweet bag. Let's get into the stitching. Sorry for the glare. I think the sun is attacking our, yeah, there's the shadow. I think I might have to move the camera a bit. But this one is housing a big project. This bag is small for said big project. But let's show you what I've got. This is another one that I'm excited to hang on the wall one day. And I'm about halfway done. This is the Plum Street Salt Box houses. And there are 4 seasons of them. And you will see that I have 2 seasons almost done. So they're done in, let me show you the charts just in case you've never seen them. So here's the winter. Yes, we will definitely have to move the camera. And spring, summer, and autumn. So those are super sweet. Plum Street I'm using called for inspired. Sometimes with these, she would use a color that was so close to something that was in a previous house or a previous chart, but instead of that, she would switch it up to get just a little bit. And I said, no, I've already got this floss. Let's just go with this one. So that's why I say called for-esque. All right, let me see if I can manage the sun. All right, so we've got the sun managed. You know, normally I love the sun. That is a part of my studio. I love being on the main floor, and I'm even gonna do a studio tour in 2023. But I love it every other time except for when I'm filming and the lighting's crazy. But anyway, I now have a fancy curtain up. It's not really that fancy. I'll show you one day. That it's blocking the sun. So check. All right, so let's pull out another one. I just need to pull this guy. This guy is in one of my watermelon quilt blocks. So I did a tutorial fall of 2021, September of 21. I did like a couple quilt blocks tutorial. This was, it's so easy. This was a watermelon one. There was a strawberry one, wild winter rose manor. I don't think I showed it to you. So this is just one of my quilt bags that I love, but this is the chart I started. It's one of those things where I love having memories associated with when I started this. I started this the summer we moved my son into his freshman year at Clemson. So I'm in the hotel and he's at the dorm and I'm crying because my baby's going away. But it has nothing to do with that. It was just a sweet sampler that I brought to start. And it's by Plum Street Sampler called 100 Ways. I suppose there may be 100 different ways of being in love. It's a Jane Austen quote. I'm a sucker for Jane Austen. And this was something that is on Hand Dyed by Me, 14 count pink. The pink isn't really showing up too much because our lighting is wonky town, but you can see I am so close. Now I did change it a little bit. You can see the wording. I spaced it. Because I'm an Aida stitcher, I don't love over one. It's just not easy enough for me to do. So I changed the words and the spacing on the words to minimize the over one, because right there was a little bit of over one and I thought it didn't need to be there. There is over one on their faces. And to be honest, that is what's stalling me on this. I'm so close. This does have a tiger lily twist. It's inspired-esque color-wise, but I dyed this fabric. What's interesting about this project is this fabric was, like I said, dyed by me using Skittles. Yeah, so I took tonic water, like club soda water, the bubble water, added, my son loves Skittles. So there was like a handful of red Skittles in the bubble water and it turns it into pink. And so then I stuck a piece of Aida in there. I was like, let's just see what happens. And I kind of love it. It was the perfect baby pink of what I wanted. All right, so now we're gonna dig into a couple Christmas that I've got. And then we're going to switch gears a little bit. Oh, I see. Okay. So this is the start of Flossmas 2021. So in 2021, I did 24 daily videos during December. So December 1 through 24, I did 24 videos. And so every day there was a new Etsy designer, a new featured small business designer. My goal for Flossmas of 2021 was to introduce you to new designers, the small designers. Everybody knows Plum Street and Blackbird and Teresa Colgate and all the big guys, right? We all know them. But let's give some love as a small business myself. I love giving love to small businesses. And so I utilized that time, that effort, as a way to kind of maybe introduce you to some of the Etsy small designers who are still designing beautiful things. And so this was one of the ones from Flossmas that has stood the test of time because I love this series. You've seen this series a lot during 2022. This is the Vivsters. It's the 12 days of Christmas. So this is one chart available on Etsy. And with this chart, you get all 12 days. Now, instead of stitching it all as one, I am stitching them individually as ornaments. And so I have fully finished 1, 2, 3, and 4. Sometimes during the year of 22, also during Stitchmas of 22, which we'll talk about later, I showed you guys some of the fully finishes, and I'm love them so much, and I'm just chugging right along. I am using all the called for DMCs. And this is in one of my floss keepers. So my floss keepers is a smaller portfolio that only holds bobbinated floss. It holds 30 of the flosses, makes it super easy. Love this one so much. So this is all the called for DMC for the entire chart. So I keep that in my project keeper. And then when I'm stitching this on, and yay, I remember this one. This is 14 count Shrekie's Tan. But who's the designer? Who's the hand dyer? I don't remember. It's Shrekie's Tan, but I don't remember who it's a smaller needle bling, maybe. So you can see I am working on day 5 golden rings. And this is another day. What day that is? Let's see if we can figure it out. Oh, that is the 6 geese a lane. That's the bottom of the geese basket. You can see I just took the gold. I was using the gold up there. I like to do a lot of color completion. And then I also just have one border almost ready to go. So that is how I like to do these things, because sometimes the border stitching is mindless. It's a repetitive pattern that I've sewn, though I stitched so many times that I can do it without referring to the chart, versus some of the things like, you know, the swans and the cows and then all the things, those I have to refer to the chart. It is a PDF chart that I refer to on my iPad. I don't print anything out, even though I do have the cover sheet printed out. Everything else is on my iPad. She makes it super easy. It is a full color, full symbol, black and white symbol, color, all the options are in this chart. It is a well worth it chart. I love it. And I hope my plan for 2023, if you saw during the Floss Tube episode last, I have goals of actually finishing the other 8 days. Now, the fact that it took me 1 year to do 4 doesn't bode well for finishing 8 in 2023, but you know, I put it on the list. It's okay. So that is the Vivsters 12 Days of Christmas. I love that one. And while we're on 12 Days of Christmas, let's just go ahead and look at my other 12 Days of Christmas, because I had started this day 1. I started this in December of 21. So I started this, but I started this prior to my color conversion. So let's just have a little story time. Whoopsie. Let's have a little story time with Kari as I pick up things up and all the things. Okay, so this is the Prairie Schooler 12 Days of Christmas. This is the hard copy. Lucky me. My LNS still had this, the hard copy books versus those flimsy ones that are now new. But I have this 12 days. Love it. So I started this, like I said, in December of 21. Let's dig into this huge vintage bag and see what we got. So in December, let's see, December of 21, I started day 1. This is 20 count vintage country mocha using the called for DMCs. Now, sometime during 2022, I shared with you guys on a floss tube that the reason I hadn't picked this back up was because although Prairie Schooler colors are gorgeous and I love, love, love all the things, I am more of a bright color person. And so I just didn't think I could stitch all 12 of these in these muted colors. They just weren't speaking to me. So thankfully, you guys are so supportive of all the things. And I did a full Tiger Lily Twist color conversion to Aurifil. So sorry, I don't want them all to fall out, but these are Aurifil. I did a full color conversion to Aurifil thread. So this is not Aurifil, comes in floss form, which is a 6-stranded floss, just like all the flosses that we use, or this is their 12 weight thread. So their 12 weight thread is very comparable to the Sulky 12 weight. That's been around a couple of years. I feel like that's more universal and people have heard about that one before. The Sulky 12 weight comes in a gaggle of colors. Well, Aurifil, who makes beautiful quilting thread, it's what I use for my quilting, in the 40 and 50 weight, also makes a 12 weight thread. And the 12 weight thread is very comparable, if not almost exactly comparable, to 2 strands of a DMC floss. So as an Aida stitcher, I thought it was a perfect way for me to try to stitch on a 16 count that I love to usually use 2 strands for, but instead of using 2 strands, I'm going to use 1 strand of this 12 weight Aurifil. So I did it. And of course I did day 4, finished it last year. Don't have that to show you because this is a WIP parade. But what I do have to show you is I have 3 of the next days started. So you can definitely see the colors. So there's day 5, 6, and 7, but let's just compare. So like I said, this is bigger, but brighter. So this is not the same motif. This is day 1 and this is day 5, but you can see the difference in colors. This is a 20 weight vintage country or 20 count vintage country mocha, and this is 16 count white chocolate Zweigart, I do believe, is what I ended up using. And this is on my brighter Tiger Lily full color conversion. So you can get this. I do have a blog post on my website that gives you the full color conversion. I think there's only 12 colors or so, and you can try it yourself. So that is the 12 days of Christmas from the Prairie Schooler. So as we were talking about Flossmas of 2021, let's dig into some of the other featured designs from Flossmas that I haven't finished yet. So they're still in the WIP parade. One of them is hand rolled candy canes. Let's see if I remember. This is, I think, yes, this is the Demented Stitchers, 84 by 168. So this is what the chart looks like. It's a sweet little sign. And the reason that this one's not done is because it went into timeout. This is a 14 count coffee dye by me. I love the speckled finish of it. But I realized at some point I miscounted by a lot. So you can see where the candy cane, see this big C and it's pointing up between the 2 L's. Okay, we'll see my L. My thing is pointing between the O and the L. So I miscounted somewhere along the way by, I think, a good 10 to 15 stitches, or 10 to 15. And so I haven't quite decided whether I'm going to kind of shimmy the scroll this way and that's going to remove this holly, or shimmer it around. It'd be a lot of changing. And so instead it just went into timeout. But I do really love this chart. And I think it will make a cute little finish. So it's staying in the WIP parade. So hopefully sometime soon. This is another one that was during Flossmas last year. I did call them Stitchmas. So Flossmas, we had, this is the Stitcher Hood. And this is the Quaker Tree. And it's so close. This is one where I should just pull it out and get her done. All I have left And this is, I did a full color conversion. First of all, I'm doing it on a hot pink, baby pink, medium pink, a pink fabric, because I love me some pink with Christmas. And then I have the green trees, and I just need to put the presents down below. The thing is, I do want to turn the presents into red and green presents, not just all green. So a little bit of changing, a little bit of stitching, and that probably would be done in a day. So hopefully sometime soon I can get that one done too. Now, unfortunately, we're going to look at some of the abandoned projects from Flossmas of 2021. So, like I said, during 2021 Flossmas, I shared and found 24 new designers. And I love them all. I'm abandoning some of these projects because I just don't know where they're going to go. Things have changed. Your taste has changed. But I do want to show you these patterns. So this is So Merry from White House Stitchery. Such a cute pattern. In my mind, these were going to be 4 different ornaments for my stitching tree that is going to be in my studio. And I kind of still love that concept, but I'm only this far. And this is on a nice aqua, that's more true, dyed by me fabric. I'm using most of Flossmas. I kind of just pulled from stash, so nothing is called for, but called for-esque. But I'm just not far enough along to love this one. And so I am going to abandon that one. Another abandon from Flossmas is going to be a Lucy Heaton pattern called Pretty Christmas Village. It's so sweet. And I love, like I just told you guys, I love pink and Christmas. And this pink tree is what spoke to me immediately. And I kitted this up. Now she has it. All that blue is stitched. Woo-wee. But instead, what I did is I went ahead and I dyed a blue fabric. So I didn't have to stitch all the blue, but still, oh, let me not show it to you backwards. I only have a little bit of the pink tree done, and it's such a full coverage, almost full coverage, at least all that white and all that pink. So sweet. But I just, alas, I am going to abandon this project as well and put some of those called for DMCs back into my stash. Another one, and this is mainly because it's full coverage. And I love it. My tastes have changed and I just don't think I want to do it anymore. But this is a sweet, sweet finish. It's the Peppermint House from Cosford Rise Stitchery. And I love this tail house. So I worked on this during Flossmas as well as I continued on during the year with it because I really, really love it. But I have so many big houses to stitch. And I think that I want to save my big house stitches for samplers that are going to stick around for the whole year, not just one that I only get to pull out during seasonal stitching. I think seasonal stitching or more small pieces for me, because if I'm going to devote hours and days and months and weeks and sometimes years into a into a huge piece, big girls usually is what I call them, then I want to be able to enjoy it, put it on my wall. My sampler, my funky floral sampler wall is coming. I want to be able to enjoy it there. This, last but not least, this is one, this has got a lot of good stuff in it. So this one I had done, let's see if I can just pull out. And I don't have the final one, but this was a Satsuma sampler, super sweet. And a lot of these I do love. I love the colors, and there is a part 4, and I got it. This was one of those mystery styles that I did during 2021. And like, I love this partridge. I think I am gonna stitch that guy, maybe that'll be one of my, so I see a couple of these as ornaments. But what I did finish, I did do a Noel, Noel. I have it it's already finished. It was on display this year at Christmas time. I love that. I didn't want to stitch this as a sampler, and I'll have to see if there's anything else. I'm kind of a 12 Days of Christmas junkie, so that would be fun. So I have this kit. It's got so much stuff in it. It's got all this floss and colors and fabric, and I'm unkitting that and abandoning it and putting that pink fabric back into my stash to be able to be used here in 2023. So those are some of the abandons from Flossmas of 21. Now let's dig into, looks like, my new start row of 2022. So 2022, first new day, new year, new start. That is in one of my big giant vinyl front bags. It's a Gilmore Girls. I'm a Gilmore Girls junkie. And so this was a sweet chart, and I was going gangbuster for a while. I do need to pull it back out. Again, that's going to be the moral of the story with a lot of these pieces because I love them and I love the concept of where this is going to go. But this is Lessons in Abecedarian. So you can see I've got my fabric cut. And instead of doing these as it's either 4 or 5 little dough bowl pillows, I have to slow down to say that correctly. But instead of doing it like that, I saw this on Colorado Cross Stitchers. Yay, I remembered. On her little store preview walkthrough that she did sometime. And I saw, oh my goodness, she's got them all stitched together. Yes, please. So this is being stitched on a 16 count Picture This Plus Ren. I am using all the, nope, I'm using called for-esque. Most of them are called for, some are not. But they're in the same genre. That's a lot on my story. So there's some of them. Here's all 5 of them together. They are 4 different charts. One chart has 4 pillows. The other ones just has 1. I think these 2 come together. And so it's 1, 2, 3, 4. And then this is that one. So I do have all those stitched together and I loved it. I had run out of one of the colors, which stalled me for a while. One of these greens, you know, this green in the border that you stitch. So you do have to do, I am going to give you full disclosure. I've talked about this a couple times on my channel, but if you do want to switch stitch these in one piece, it does take a little bit of recharting, reworking, revamping because they're not all exactly the same height. You would think, but they're not. They look like they should be, but they're not. And so you do have to, I do believe with 100% certainty that this one was taller than this one. So I ended up having to add like a whole nother bud rose situation, move it up. Like I said, recharting and reconfiguring is going to be needed for each one. And so that's also a reason for the stall because it's not just like a pick up and stitch project. I have to pick it up, rework it, kind of jigger it so it's going to fit, but it is going to be a lovely finish. And I love having one of those longs. It's perfect to go like above your window, you know, the skinny little space between the ceiling and the window, all the things. So I'm excited for it, but it just needs some more love. So then we move on to, so that was my New Year, New Start. And then of course there was my birthday start, Miss Mary Morgan's, but she's finished, so she's not in the WIP Parade. And then we went to March Madness. So during March Madness, I definitely participated and I had 8 new starts, which I'm also doing here in 2023. I'm so excited for it. I'm already starting to work up the details for it, but I had 8 new starts and along the year in 2022, I have finished all but one. Of course, I finished the one during March Madness. I don't remember what it was. The reindeer from Barbara Anna. What was he called? Dasher, I think. And then we had a couple, they were all smalls. That was my goal for March Madness. They all had to be less than 100 by 100. So they all got finished except for one. And so one is still here in the WIP Parade. And this one was a sweet Scarlet House Penny Pumpkin. I love this one. I think why this has stalled is because I am stitching this on, let's see if I wrote it down. No, that's just my color conversion, which of course I changed all the things. But this is on a Picture This Plus. Okay, yes, this is why this is stalled. So this is on a Picture This Plus. And I believe this was labeled, here it is, labeled 18 count. Now, why did, I must have thought it was 16 count. Well, anyway, so I started stitching this. This is 18 count. It's 18 count and it's 18 count Picture This Plus, which we all know is even tighter 18 count. So today, Kari stitches 18 count, regular 18 count with one strand only, like straight up, always one strand. And even Picture This Plus would be like for sure 1 strand because their stuff is super tight. Well, for whatever reason, Kari of March Madness time thought that 2 strands was the right way to go. So this is not a fun stitch. That's the moral of the story. This is not enjoyable because it's too much. The holes are too tight and the stitching, it's just not fun. And that is why. So I'm thinking I certainly have a big enough piece, or I can just chop it off and start again. Because I do love this piece. It will be a sweet little finish as part of my autumnal decor. And I certainly have all the gorgeous, I'm thinking it's all called for, all the fancy floss that's called for. So maybe I'll have to stitch that up again, or do a little restart on that one. And that is why, because for whatever reason, Kari of March Madness 2022 thought 2 strands was a good idea. Who was she? So then we moved on to, and I don't remember exactly. Let's reference our sheet here just a little bit. Let's stop testing my memory. Then we have March Madness, which was Peppermint Pals, Patriotic ABC, I finished that. Henpeck from Plum Street, finished that. Prancer, Hilda Boo, and George and Martha. All of those got finished during March Madness. Then I took a little break of starting until I got to Mania. So Stitch Mania, I had the intentions of doing another 8 starts during Stitch Mania. But at the same time, that's when I decided I was moving. So packing your house and doing Stitch Mania and working, they all didn't go together very well. Let's just be honest. So my Stitch Mania efforts kind of like fell by the wayside, got a little bit. Anywho, I do have some of the pieces that are in the WIP Parade still, and I touched them all during this organizational process, and all of these are going to stay here 1 more year and hopefully either get finished or they'll move on. But now is when we get into the world of project tracker information cards. Yay, I don't have to remember anything. So this is the Thanksgiving pumpkin from Tracy Campbell, 14 count 8 oatmeal. I started this on May 16th. Such a sweet little chart. So this is an Etsy designer that I featured during Stitch Mania. And that's the front. So a sweet little pattern. I think what I was going to do is just stitch the pumpkin, not the words around it, and kind of finish it as a double pillow. And which is why there's not a lot of, I'm showing you the back again. So sweet. And I think it will be a sweet little double pillow finish. I'm doing this in inspired DMC, bobbinated DMC. So that is one of the pieces from Stitch Mania. Then we've also got, I love that I've got all my project tracker cards now. So this is from Salt and Pepper Stitching. It's called Phase Flowers. I'm stitching this on a 16 count Tyco. And right now all I have is the sweet little flower. Now her charts, unfortunately I can't show you the chart because it's only just a printout of the chart, but it's this sweet little girl and she's watering her flowers and it's adorable. All right, and then we move on to this Queen Bee one. Queen Bee by the French Giraffe, also on 14 count oatmeal. This one is real close to being done. This will be a sweet little finish and a double pillow. Do I have a way to show you? This was a series. Here we go. She had a series of all these 4x4 like bee themed finishes. They were super sweet. So this is the Queen Bee one. They're all in here. That's that one. This is the Honey Bee one. So sweet. And then one more I had was Be Happy, which is just this gorgeous sunflower. So there's a series. I thought it was a series of 4, but maybe it's only a series of 3. Sweet little patterns from her Etsy shop. And that was the French Giraffe. And moving right along, staying in Stitch Mania. This was another one that's not finished. It's the May Basket from Cosford Rise. Cosford Rise is a designer over in UK, and she did these baskets all year long. So she had a new one every month. It's super sweet. This was Lily of the Valley, I do believe is what that flower is. So sweet. And here's my progress on it. Not very much, but it's not a lot of stitching. It probably would only take me a couple more days to finish it. And again, that would be a sweet little finish. Now remember, during Stitch Mania was also the same as March Madness. The goal was for them to be smalls so that they could be finished in a timely manner. Last but not least is a pattern from the company called Home Stitchness. And this is a designer named Jenny. And the pattern is so sweet. It's called Berries in a Basket. And I love the berries, but I love the cardinal more. And that is what spoke to me on this one. And it is so sweet. So close. I got the berries. I'm working on the birds. Got to do a little basket. It's close. And it's on a sweet dyed by Patrick 14 count blue Kool-Aid coffee dip. And so he dyed it and then I coffee dipped it. And so it's got this rustic blue teal aqua color. And that is using kind of a menagerie of called for / Tiger Lily conversion floss. All right, so that is Stitch Mania, and let's dive into what's next. Okay, so we're getting close to the end. The pile is shrinking. So the next one was a new start for my friend Sarah's birthday sale. And so this was a big girl. She is in one of my project bags with the vintage stitching. This is one that I just couldn't. This is one of a kind with the orange. I love orange. And the birds and the things. So this one, and I think I've shown this lately because I stitched on her. Pulled her back out. So this is Miss Lucy Calcutt, and she is affectionately a big girl. She is being stitched on 18 count covered bridge from LFA Linens, and this is for Sarah's birthday sal, and it's a 281 by 380. So it's using all the called for DMCs. So I have so Sarah makes me these sweet little charts. So I have all the called for DMCs in my floss keeper that I keep inside my folder. I love to do that with my big girls. And so let's see where we are on this. So I won't say that she is going to get finished this year because she's a big girl and slow and steady, but progress has been made. So I love it. First of all, I love LFA linens, the hand count, the texture. This is 18 count, so it's one strand of DMC floss over one on Aida. And so I'm working on it. I'm working on the basket. I'm working on the house. I like to leave fill-in for later, but that is the progress so far. She was started in July, so we'll see how much love she gets here in 2023. So August 2022 is when I finished approximately Miss Mary, and I knew I needed to start a new Fox and Rabbit funky floral for my wall. So immediately I pulled this from Stash. This was Margaret Felicia Dyson. So she was part of their market release in May. And I knew once I saw this funky floral that it needed to be part of my wall. I am bringing mine down and losing all these words. So I brought the border down. And so I will be tweaking some of those things. But let's just... So this one has my thread keeper with the 6-stranded floss Aurifil spools. These are the wooden spools that are their 6-stranded floss. And so then I put the usable strands over here. And so this was a perfect one for me to do a color conversion. My first one, there were only 12 colors and I easily converted it. I'm super excited. I love it so much. I need to get back to it. I am stitching this on. Let's look at my project information card. This is Margaret Felicia Dyson from Fox and Rabbit, stitched on 20 count LFA popover linen. And so this does have all the color conversions from Aurifil. It's also on my blog. Link down below. There's a post if you want to go and try these colors out versus using the DMC. But this is where she's at. She's close. I mean, listen, there's a lot, and that border is no joke. But I do really, really love this 20 count stitching with the one strand. The coverage is perfect. And this is going to be a sweet little small, so sweet, I think it's bigger than an 8 by 10, but maybe an 11 by 14, 9 by 12. I don't know how I'm going to frame it yet. I'll have to wait and see how the measurements work out. I do frame myself, but we'll see how this goes. And I'm excited about the progress on her. So I think she's got a better chance of getting done here in 2023 versus Miss Lucy, because Miss Lucy's a big girl. So that was the new start from August of 2022. And then I went on a cruise, Alaska cruise in September, and I wanted to bring a one color stitch. And so this is one of my sweet little mini bags. This was a quilt block that I pulled out of my abandoned quilt block drawer, and it's a Dresden plate. It is one of those like mini keepers. And why did I do a mini keeper? So that it was easy and travelable, easy to travel. And so it has my thread right here, and like I said, this is a one color stitch, and so I have all my floss right here on the floss drops. It's a hank of Mo's silk in the color Christmas Night, this dark blue rich variegated color. I also did this sweet, are there any in here? Yeah, there are. This sweet little Moda tin box that I added 4 magnets to, and then I would load up, there's 6 needles in here. I would load up the needles 6 at a time, so that way they wouldn't get lost on the airplane. Super love that trick. This is a, I don't have the chart because I don't keep the chart. The chart's bigger than that folder, so I don't keep it in there, but it's a long dog sampler called Forevermore. And it's close. It's about halfway done. I got a lot of stitching done on vacation. Doing a one color stitch was super enjoyable. It's the perfect like airplane stitch. But I guess when I'm at home, I don't pick it up. I should, to try to get some more stitches in here, because I think this would be lovely to hang and add to my home. I'm excited for it. So that's a long dog sampler. And then we get into the fall of 2023, where I started and I kitted up. So this is kind of finishes and whips because it's all in one of my giant patchwork project bags. And this was Rachel from Treehouse Fiber Arts went and did a like custom curated collection from the Autumn Garden palette. There was she picked out her 4 favorites, and then those are the ones where you get the cottage garden threads, and so all of them use the same threads, and I loved these threads. I wanted to be able to try them, and so I have them all kitted up. To be honest, I think these are just fully finishes and no whips, but they're in the bag because I'm doing them all on the same fabric. So those are the 2 finishes, and then I have 2 more to stitch, so they're not even whips. So I shouldn't have shown those to you, but they're in the active project bag folder, so that's how they made the cut. So that's October, the Cozy Autumn Garden stitch. Moving right along, more November. This is November 9th. This was another sal that I started with my friend Sarah, Feast of Friendship. We're using the hashtag Friendsgiving Sal. And so I'm stitching mine on 16 count millstone, which was a custom box color from LFA Linens. Everyone knows what this one is. This is the Feast of Friendship by Blackbird Designs. I'm using almost all the called for. I did change the blue houses. Look at that hot mess, just hot mess express. But this is about as far as I've gotten on my millstone. The millstone is perfect. I'm excited for this. I probably won't pick this back up until autumn of next year. I do kind of stick with seasonal stitching. Stitching within the season is more my jam versus like stitching autumn in January. That's not really my thing. So this is in one of my vintage stitching project bags. I love it in Liberty of London florals. Love that one so much. Oh, we're so close. Let's see what we've got here in my vinyl front bag. These are some small Christmas starts that are so close. Sure would love to just get these done. This is the Mount Vernon Christmas by Plum Street Sampler. I started this sometime in November, I do believe, and it's close. Oh, so sweet. Like I said, I moved. I'm less than a mile away from this Mount Vernon mansion, so I do really, really enjoy that one, and I'm excited for it to be part of my decor next year. Then, okay, so this is one that I don't have a WIP to show you, but it's another one that I finished one, but there's 2 more. So I finished, this is the hands-on design the tree lot from Jingle Ball, and I finished one, already fully finished it completely, and so I do want to stitch the other ones. I am using pink fabric for mine, and I did a full color conversion on that. You can go back a couple floss tubes ago if you want the details on that change, but those are ones I need to get done. And the last one in this Christmas extra bucket is the Christmas Time Mystery Salve from Fat Quarter Shop. This one is so close. I think I just got bored. Stitching brown doesn't make me happy. But I gotta get her done. So this is supposed to be a brown present, and then the word little is right there. And I think then it's done. And I think I can finish this. I think in an 8-inch hoop is how I'm gonna finish it. But you know, I'm almost to the point where I'm not stitching Christmas anymore, except if it's one of the ornaments. I don't know. We'll see. But that, I'll get it done. I'll get it done. It'll definitely get done in 2023 because I cannot carry that one over again. All right, we've got 2 last but not least. I don't even remember what's in what. Let's see. This is my Angel Vintage Project Keeper. Yes, this is my Needlepoint keeper. And so what is that is I featured a needlepoint designer during Stitchmas of 2022. So in December of 2022, rather than doing 24 days like I did in 21, in 22 I did 12 days of Stitchmas. Same concept, but it was 12 days instead of 24, and I did a same featured designer or a featured notions maker, finishing maker. There were so many great things. A new business every day. I also incorporated my new love, which is knitting. So there was hand-dyed yarns and fuzzy stitch marker. The stitch markers aren't fuzzy. The yarn is fuzzy. Anyway, lots of good stuff. But during that, I also fell down the rabbit hole of needlepoint. And so this includes some of my needlepoint projects. So the WIP that I'm currently working on is this KC monogram. I'm not going to take it out, but well, maybe I will. So I was intrigued by the concept of needlepoint and in its closeness to stitching, cross stitch versus not. It's very interesting. I love it. It's good for when you can't sit there and focus and have like a table with your pattern and the thing. Like you can just pull this out at a doctor's office and not have to reference a chart or do the fill-in is perfect for that too. But you don't like, anyway, so I'm excited for it. And I think that this will be a sweet little finish. And she also had a 12 days of Christmas. She sent me the first one for the 12 days of Christmas. I haven't started it. I did kit it up, but I kitted it up with the wrong size of pearl cotton. So we will try again and go to the big box store of Michael's and get the correct size pearl cotton. Who knew there are 2 different kinds of pearl cotton? Oop, not me, obviously. So I need to kit that up correctly. So this is my needlework keeper. Now I remember what this one is. This is my beaded ornament keeper. So this was it's one of my favorites. Look at that. This came from a vintage linen Christmas tree tablecloth. There were like 6 or 8 Christmas trees. Love that one. So what I have in here is kind of all the kitted ornaments with I have the Mill Hill one. So there's some Jim Shore Santas. And then I also have the work in progress, which is the Satsuma Street Sampler or Satsuma Street Santa. He's ready for the beading. So again, I started him in July of 22 when I was at UVA orientation with Lily. Love that memory. So I just need to put the beads and then finish him and he's done. So then I also in this, just to keep everything all in one place, because it's easy to have a little bit of a Satsuma ornament rabbit hole. Love the 12 days. So that looks very similar to that suit. Anyway, 2 turtle doves and then a couple Santas and then of course the jolly pair. So I keep all of those beaded, sequined, perforated paper ornaments. There's at least 1 WIP, but more just ready to go right here in that bag. The table's complete. Yay. All right, friends, that is my WIP parade. How exciting. So let's see. I am starting 2023. This is what I'm starting. 2023 is starting with 27 WIPs. And I've already shown you one. I had a new start. My new year, new start was the 2023 Mystery Sal from Fox and Rabbit. That one I showed you guys in the last floss tube, my first floss tubes of 2023. And so that's the only thing I've started so far. So we're up to 28 WIPs, but that's where we are. And that is my WIP parade for today. Like I said, I try to do a Floss Tube Friday video every Friday just to give you a little update of what I've been doing that week. I also like to give you Tiger Lily shop updates if you're a Project Keeper collector, or if you wanted to try to, check out a Project Keeper. I've got the club as well as a monthly capsule collection release on the 15th every month. I give you details. I also bring you along in some of my quilting journeys as well as knitting journeys. I got a sweater. It's almost done. My first sweater. I'm already casting on to my second sweater. So lots of rabbit holes, lots of good stuff, lots of 2023. I've got a couple table runners quilt-alongs that I have scheduled for this year. Of course, there's always going to be Stitchy Sal's, so follow me here. Subscribe to my channel. I would love it if you would stay and check me out, or follow along on Instagram. Like I said, I like to go on there and give you a little tidbit every once in a while. But that is it, friends. So that is my WIP parade. I can't wait to see what 2023 gives me, what we get into, but I can't wait for the fun. All right, friends, happy stitching.